This is a 2020 Ford Explorer XLT. Here equipped with a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged motor producing 300 horsepower and 310 feet-pounds of torque, which are amazing numbers compared to the previous model year. Right up front, immediately you can tell that Ford has completely redesigned this front end, where we have our LED headlights, our daytime running lights, along with our LED fog lamps. You see, the grille is completely different from the previous model year. This is something Ford has done that looks amazing. And as we come along the side of the Explorer, we can see a lot of the styling changes with different body lines and so on. And as we come around to the back, here to the tailgate area, we can see that Ford has completely redesigned the tailgate of this Explorer here with the nice Ford Explorer emblem. And while we're back here, why don't we go ahead and take a look at the cargo space. And here you can see all the cargo space that we have with the 3 rows folded down, more specifically the 3rd row. And to lift the 3rd row up, it's actually pretty simple. All you do is just grab this lever here, pull it that way, pull up your headrest. You do the same on both sides. And it's not like other SUVs where it's very difficult to function the 3rd row. Actually, in fact, to lay the 3rd row down, all you do, pull the lever here, and it folds right down on both sides. And then as we move to the cargo area, not only did you have the area on top for space, you also have this nice area here with the available cargo dividers, so you can, in these little slots here, put and divide your cargo accordingly. And now here's the 2nd row of our 2020 Ford Explorer XLT. You can see already that it's fully equipped with leather, but I'll get to that in a second. Ford has thought of ways to make it easier to get into the 3rd row of this vehicle, and let me demonstrate that for you. All you do is you pull the lever by the headrest forward, and you slide the seat forward, and now it's easier access for you, your friends, children, whoever, to get into that 3rd row. And let me show you another cool trick about the seats. To slide it back, all you have to do is push it, and now it's also back. And another thing that is very, very cool about these seats is that they can slide forward and backwards. So your middle row passengers can have as much leg room as they need, and they can also adjust it for the 3rd row passengers. And say you just don't need all that space and you don't need this seat here, then you can just lay it down, and now you have a ton more space. You have a flat surface that you can lay things on top of. And the same thing works for both the driver and passenger rear seats. And here also in this 2nd row, we have a nice vent configuration. And a lot of SUVs, they have the vents coming from this center console space here, where even the 3rd row passengers can't feel that heat or AC depending on what temperature it is. Ford has thought to put the vents in the ceiling. So not only does the middle row passengers can feel the temperature, but also the 3rd row passengers can feel the temperature as well. And the way they control those temperatures are with these small gauges here aligned with this nice aluminum finish. And all you do is just turn it, and it works like your standard climate control. And you can even select which vents you would like the climate control to come from. Along with those climate control functions, right below it, we have a USB and a USB-C port, and where kids can plug in their tablets, phones, and things of that sort to make it easier for them to charge it. And also, it's not only just a USB port, it's also a fast charging USB port, so you don't get that standard automobile slow charge. And right next to your USB ports, you also have a 12-volt port. And as we move inside of the driver's side information console, here you can see on the left-hand side we have our standard tachometer, and on the right-hand side we have our standard speedometer. And right below that speedometer we have our fuel gauge. And then in the middle portion there, it tells us which gear are we in, with park, reverse, neutral, drive, and manual. And then on the left-hand side, underneath the tachometer, we also have our engine temperature. And as we move to the center of those 2 gauges, it tells us a ton of information. For one, it tells us what radio station we're listening to. We can also view our tire pressures along with our fuel economy, and another view for fuel economy. And then you also have your digital speedometer. And not only that, all you do is you control this by using the buttons on the steering wheel. And by using those buttons, you press main menu, and you can select different screens that you would like to view as you're driving, where you can have a calm screen. So when you select that, it turns the screen to a calmer view, and it basically empties everything out, so you don't have to be focused on that while you're driving. Also, you can see you can change different audio settings and change from AM, FM to Sirius XM. You can also view your phone settings, and in this instance, there's no phone connected. And we go down to settings, and this will tell us our oil life, and in this case, our oil life is 100%. And then we can also configure our own display setup, where we can have the speedometer either in miles per hour, or we can have it in kilometers. And on each side of our driver information center, we have 2 vents, so the driver can choose whichever way they would like the vents configured, and you just push it or pull it whichever way you'd like, and then to turn the vent completely off, you just spin this dial here. Along with those vents there, if we move down, we have our engine stop start button, and if it's running, then the stop start button will be green. If it's off, then there won't be any illumination at all. On the steering wheel, well, let's start behind the steering wheel. Here we have our windshield wiper control, and then we also have our rear windshield wiper control. So that'll turn on or off, and you can change it intermittently and put it on auto and so on. On the left hand side, we have our turn signals. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And on the left hand side, we have our turn signals. So obviously, just like any other standard car, you push it down for left and you push it up for right. And then on the end there, you have a button. And what that button is it turns on your lane keeping assistance. And with that lane keeping assistance, it allows you not to veer out of your lane. And if you do, the steering wheel will center you back into your proper lane. On the steering wheel, we have various controls here. On the left hand side, we have our climate control. We have our radio volume adjustments, and then if you just want to turn the radio off completely, that turns the radio off completely. On the right hand side here, these buttons here controls our driver information center. Along with right below, it also controls the next track button, and it's also paired with the phone buttons as well, where you can answer phone calls and use voice recognition and so on. Here in the center, we have our nice touchscreen display, and in this touchscreen tablet style display, we have a lot of different configurations and different things that we can do to control various functions of the car. For example, you can just tap there, and you can go to various radio functions where you have AM, FM, Sirius XM, or Bluetooth stereo. And then also, right below here, you have your phone settings. So once you have a phone connected via Bluetooth, then you would be able to send phone calls and send text messages, answer phone calls, go scroll through your phone book, etc. You go over to apps, and here it shows you various apps that'll display once you have a phone connected via Bluetooth. And then if you go all the way over to the right, you have your settings. And in these settings, you can configure a ton of things. One of my favorite things in the settings here is your driver assist settings. So you don't have to go through the car and figure out how to turn on various things. You just go in your infotainment screen, tap driver assist, and then it tells you all of the driver assist settings that this particular vehicle has. In this case here, in our 2020 Explorer, we have lane keeping systems, and all you have to do is just you tap the arrow and you can turn on those alerts accordingly. And then if you press the I, it gives you a little video of what each safety feature does. And then once you're done viewing that, you press the X, and then you can do it with each setting with your pre-collision assistance, also your rear view camera. And in that rear view camera, you can turn on parking aid. And enhanced parking aid, what that is that will let you know vehicles that are around you, and it'll essentially beep at you once there is an alert that there is a pedestrian or another vehicle around you. And then you can also turn on a delay with your rear view camera. And then also you have your blind spot information system, along with your trailer sway control, your park aid, your cross traffic alert, and then you also have driver alert. And driver alert is pretty neat. Let me show you. So I guess we can take that part out.
Let's go. And that's pretty much it. I think the USB, well, we go back there now. This part, right?
Yeah. Wait, I'll just go down.
Okay. Go ahead. Look over here. 1, 2, and 3.
And right below our center console area, we also have a nice place to store your phone. If you're driving and you don't want your phone in sight, you can store it there. And then below that, you have your radio controls. You have your standard controls, which are on this nice digital screen. Instead of having a dial, below that, you have a nice area where you can store other things along with your 12-volt port, your USB, and your USB-C ports. And this is a pretty deep storage space. You can see almost my whole hand can fit in there. And as we move down the center console space, we have our cup holders. And then I really love this here is what Ford did is they put a place for you to hold your phone. So say you don't want it hidden away there or hidden away in there, you can just put your phone right in there, and it fits most smartphones, and it'll stay up that way the entire time. To the right of our cup holders, to the left of our cup holders, we have our rotary dial gear selector. And all you do is turn this dial, and you'll be able to select which drive mode you would like to drive in. And then that M in the middle, that stands for manual. So with that manual button, if you push it, then you'll be able to control the transmission manually with your paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. Below our rotary dial, we have our electronic parking brake, and then we also have our auto hold feature that looks like a hand with the circles around it. And the auto hold feature, what that is if you're at a stoplight and you enable auto hold, then the brake will hold itself until you press and accelerate on the gas pedal, and then it will disengage. And it'll do that at every stoplight until you turn it off. Below that, we have a series of 4 buttons here. And these 4 buttons, what that is we have our auto stop start feature, where if you're at a stoplight, the engine will shut off to help increase your fuel mileage. And then it'll shut back on once you accelerate from that and stop. To the right of that, we also have our traction control, which kind of looks like a little wheel spinning. Below those 2 buttons, we also have our mode selector. And with these mode selectors, you'll be able to select whichever type of mode you would like to drive in based on your current settings. You have tow haul mode, sport mode, eco mode, normal mode, slippery, trail, and those are all your modes there. So the suspension and the transmission will adjust depending on which type of mode you're in. And this, folks, here is our 2020 Ford Explorer XLT. Once again, my name is Patrick here at Rivertown Ford, and these are all the features of our new 2020 Ford Explorer. Thank you.